This is the Rugby Muscle Podcast, talking all that you need to become the best rugby player you can be. Now here are the Rugby Muscle coaches, TJ and Alex.
You know this one, don't you, Alex?
Yes.
Tell me what you wanna do, what you gonna do.
This one we're going to leave to the chorus.
Bad boys, what you gonna do, what you gonna do when they come for you. Bad boys, what you gonna do, what you gonna do when they come for you. When you were 8 and you...
Yes, sweet. Welcome, boys and girls, to the Rugby Muscle Podcast. I'm your host, as always, TJ, and as always, I'm joined by Alex.
How's it going, man?
Yeah, good. Have you turned yourself down because you got some work going on in the background there?
I might have turned it down. I was playing around with it a second ago. I might have done it.
Nice.
No,
you
it's all good.
sound perfectly clear, my man. And
Excellent.
yeah, we are. Though that was Bad Boys, but the idea behind that tune was it says what you're gonna do, because we're gonna discuss today on the Rugby Muscle Podcast what are you gonna do in the off season. I figured that went really well, but before we figure out what you're gonna do with that, it's excellent that Alex sounds really clear because
It's time for the facts of the week.
So I'm still on this clown topic, by the way, mate.
have you just been looking up clown facts?
Yeah. That's
Next
literally
week's fact
what I've
is
been
not
doing.
allowed to be clown related. People aboard.
It's already clown related. I've already got it written down. So we're saying like clowns are freaky as fuck, right? That's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard about the uncanny valley effect?
Of course I haven't.
Okay, it's to do with robots, and just bear with me, okay? So,
Best fact ever.
essentially, people don't like it when robots look too human.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
That creeps
so-
you out a little bit.
Yeah, and that's called the uncanny valley effect. Essentially, there's a spot where like they look human enough, but essentially they're humanoid, but they look like a person,
Yeah.
and people think that's why people get this. Is it coulrophobia or something like that? What being scared of clowns is called. Is that because they got all this makeup on, they look weird, but they don't look enough like a real person, and that freaks people out the same way as like robots who look like people freak people out.
Right,
But they don't
this-
look like people enough.
But this is my point here, is that clowns weren't invented to be scary. They just happen to be scary. They were invented to be funny. How the fuck are they funny?
I think you're getting mixed up with clowns and jesters. So the first clowns were called jesters, right?
Right, but clowns are supposed to be funny. Like, you go to a circus, there's a clown there, it's supposed to be funny, but it's not. It's just annoying and not funny. I'm not actually scared of clowns, I just think they're fucking pointless.
When's the last time you went to a circus? Who goes to circuses anymore?
I plead the fifth.
Excellent.
I have no idea
Okay.
when I last went to circus. But that's what clowns are from. Or like a kid's party, they're supposed to be funny. It's just annoying.
Anyway, the reason people find clowns weird is because they fall into that uncanny valley.
Right.
Um,
And we
yeah.
don't like that because we don't want robots to look like us because why?
It's
Freaks.
just disconcerting.
It reminds me of on the one of the first Ricky Gervais podcasts back in like 2005, and they were talking about if he wanted to have a doppelganger, and Carl Pilkington didn't like the idea of that because he didn't know because then he wouldn't know, how would I know which one was me?
Carl Pilkington's a special little kid, isn't he?
How good is that?
Yeah.
How would I know which one I was?
Well, you'd inherently know, wouldn't you?
Because you'd be you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Unless your clone,
Wow, that's an interesting fact.
he seems proper
unless your
sarcastic.
clone had your memories, and you were cloned with memories, then you wouldn't know.
Have you seen? This is homework for all our listeners. You need to go and watch the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Is it called The Sixth Day?
I don't know.
This is this is poor assignment of us from the homework, but there's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie about cloning. It is the sixth day.
It's Sixth Day, yeah.
Yeah, see? Sweet. I know what I'm doing. Go ahead and watch that, and then if you haven't watched any other Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, go and watch that, because we'll throw out some references now and then, and we assume that everyone understands them, but I've had a few people ask me, what the hell are you talking about? It's Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Was it me? Was it me that asking what you're talking?
No. Right, cool. I've set the timer. I've set it to 17 minutes because I reckon we can whiz through this quickly, because every time I set it to 20, the podcast ends up going at least 30 minutes. So 17 minutes, we're going to talk about what you're going to do in the off-season.
So, mostly, you're not going to play rugby, right?
Right.
Because the first thing you, like, as soon as you finish the season, what do you want to do? You want to stop being beat up.
Yeah. You're like,
What's up?
I said, as soon as you finish your season, first thing you do is you go,
Excellent. Yeah, because you want a break. And I think that's what you should do. You should kind of get away from at least the physical side of rugby and maybe get into some more recovery-based stuff.
Yeah.
So in terms of actually doing things, I don't think that you should just stop. So you get some people who will finish the season and they'll say, okay, I'm going to take a break for 2 weeks and I'm going to go and hit the gym hard. And what ends up happening is they take an 8-week break and then they come back halfway through pre-season and they can't move.
Yeah.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
So to me, like, the ideal kind of thing to get into in the pre-season or in the off-season would be something like swimming or maybe some kind of aerobic exercise.
Hiking.
Yeah, but it's not too hard on your knees and stuff, for sure.
Yeah.
I know back home, they've got something called an All-Terrain Challenge, which is an off-road kind of running series, which a lot of the boys do.
Oof.
Yeah, see, I never did it. It sounded shit to me, but
figure out some sort of aerobic work that you can do whilst in the off-season. Are we talking about right at the beginning still, or are we talking about during the whole of the off-season?
It depends what your off-season, pre-season program looks like. Yeah. Usually, I'd say that it can start off for sure in the off-season and then probably fade away as you come into the in-season.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have said. You can run, because people often think that, and actually I spoke about this in one of my latest YouTube videos, TJ Strength on YouTube. I spoke about how people think that if you're bulking, because traditionally people view the off-season akin to bulking, right? You think, if it's off-season, it's time to put on some muscle, whatever.
That's fair, yep. That's fair enough.
Yeah, and that's right. But then they say, if you're bulking, I remember actually when one of my clubs back in the UK, we got a strength and conditioning coach who was our strength and conditioning coach purely because he loves the gym and he was an old player. So the head coach put him in charge of strength and conditioning. He put us on 8 weeks we had a 12-week or so off season.
Oh, man.
And the first 6 to 8 weeks, he said, I don't want you guys doing any sort of aerobic work at all because we're trying to put on muscle mass. So I don't want you doing any cardio whatsoever.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's wrong. Okay, categorically, that is wrong. If you want to put on muscle mass as a rugby player, it's probably more important for you to do conditioning because your body needs to adapt to that heavier weight that you're carrying around. So you can keep up your condition. You can even improve your condition whilst bulking. The only problem is, or it's not even a problem, it's just something that you've got to bear in mind, is that you have to eat even more food to actually gain that weight. So,
yeah, there's a couple of things we need to think about when you're looking at doing the concurrent stuff. So you're totally correct when you say you need to do the cardio whilst you're doing the hypertrophy work.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you get a lot less vascularization in the muscle.
Yeah.
Okay. What that means is the muscle isn't as resistant to work as it would be if you'd done that cardio work as well. There's not this proliferation of blood vessels in it, so you can't.
It's almost
carry
like
the energy from blood
useless muscle.
Yeah, almost. Like, it can still produce force, but not over a time. It's got a low work capacity.
Yeah.
So, like, if you look at our conditioning book.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I know, right?
You're plugging stuff now. I'm proud of you.
It's how I roll.
Where can someone get that conditioning book?
Rugbymuscle.com.
Rugby-muscle.com.
Yeah, is that what the website is? Cool.
Yeah. Don't even know our own website, man.
I don't have a look at it.
Anyway.
Okay, so if you go out, you'll see there is different conditioning protocols for different circumstances, but a bunch of them, I think 3 or 4 at least that I did, are just concerning squatting.
Yeah.
And they're not particularly heavy, but it will have the effect of increasing the amount of oxygen that your muscles in your legs can utilize. So you get this carryover effect. So when you're running, you won't like get these legs so quickly.
Yeah. So you're improving your running, and then you're also improving your squatting.
Yeah.
That's good. Actually, that reminds me of I was talking to my sister who's moaning at me why she's not losing weight. Don't worry, she won't listen to this. And she was saying about how I was like, she asking me what body pump was and how I'd classify it. I was like, it's sort of like weights / aerobic work, and she's like, no, because we do bench press. Bench press can't be aerobic. And I was like, well, actually, the movement doesn't dictate what the effect is, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you look for you look for the adaptation you want, and then you fit the exercises to that.
Yeah. Cool. So, all we're saying is, you should definitely still be doing. Like, it's a great time to be building up that aerobic base that we've spoken about time and time again. In the off season, it's also a great time to build up some quality muscle, because you can keep training while sore, and you can actually create a good level of soreness where you can, get a good volume of work in, because you're not having to recover from a game and then stay fresh for a game every week. So you can add in quite a lot of volume, so therefore you can make a lot of strength gains and a lot of muscle gains. But these two things can happen at the same time. You've just got to be prepared to eat a lot of food, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could even treat the first few weeks of your off season as like an overreaching kind of phase.
I'd say not the first few weeks.
The first few you're training, so you take the time off, and then
yeah, because going straight into overreaching phase at the end of rugby.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. Excellent. That's fine. I managed to set one of those as my ringtone the other day.
Oh, good work.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so what we're saying is, once you're building this aerobic base, once you've got your strength or your muscle, then we can look at trying to build some strength after the hypertrophy work. Or what are you saying? How would you structure that?
I'd probably have the strength work running through.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it might be that, say if we looked at this like just take out one training session from the whole block, say probably a week 1 session. Mm-hmm. We might have, say, the first movement, say we're doing an overhead press. Yeah.
Yeah. It
might be the first set is a set of 6 at like 85%, maybe 8, somewhere around there.
Nice.
But your sets 2 to 4 or 2 to 5 are going to be sets of 8 to 10 at 60 or 75%.
Yeah, cool. So what we're doing is we've got strength work in there, but then we've got the back off sets after that, so that we can gain some quality muscle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so you still have that high tension, which is needed to retain strength and muscle.
Yeah.
Which is heavy work, and then you have the more hypertrophy based work afterwards as a main focus. So there's a lot more volume in that kind of higher rep stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Because then we've got enough to stimulate to get strength. It's a priority almost, but in the background we've still got all this volume that is geared towards pretty much just building muscle, because muscle building isn't just about working between 8 to 12 reps is where you're going to build muscle. You can build muscle doing just purely strength work if you eat enough.
Well, there's a Schoenfeld study about volume balanced work at 3 rep max or 20 rep max.
Yeah.
Which showed pretty much the same hypertrophy.
Yeah, so if you get the same volume in, I like to do it as, like, if you can do, so people say if you can do 3 sets of 10, right, that's great, but if you can do 6 sets of 5, you've still got those 30 reps in, but if you're doing it at sets of 5, that can be at a heavier weight, which is going to hopefully help build more muscle, also build more strength, so that would be really good for the off season. But in season, you might want to stick with 3 sets of 10 so you don't get beat up as much.
Here's another thing: is the time.
You're
time
175 and you got abs. Fuck you.
I was trying to
fucking gain some muscle, bitch.
You love that soundboard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's another thing: say you want to do or go down that Chad Waterbury approach, where you do 10 sets of 3 reps.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's going to take you a good hour to do. And then you've got all your extra work to go on top of that. Well, that's a hell of a long session. It's a big time commitment to make.
Yeah. So in season, you're probably not going to have that time, right?
Exactly. And you wouldn't want to do 10 sets of 3 anyway. I mean, I don't want to do 10 sets of 3, and I'm not even playing at the moment.
Right. But at least in off season, you've probably got more time to be able to do that, right?
Well, you should. I mean, rugby training's what, hour and a half long? The gym session can be just as long as rugby session, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. In terms of aerobic stuff, what would you recommend? What would your go-to be?
I would say I'd start off when we're in the off season, like when we're completely off. I'd do as much off feet as I can, simply because we're going back to that recovery stuff, and we want to get as much training, because a lot of the aerobic stuff is all of the aerobic stuff pretty much is about building up the heart, right, and the lungs. So if we can keep off our feet.
Did you read the preamble I wrote for that book, for that little thing?
Don't ask me that, because obviously I've read it.
Cool. When people read that, it will explain what aerobic work should improve.
Yeah. So yeah. I would keep as much off the feet, because then, because of all this volume that we're trying to get in through squatting and just lifting heavy, I want to try and keep us off our feet so that we're fresh for those sessions. So this is the one time I'd actually recommend, potentially, well, actually, and in season, but I'd definitely advocate going in and just using a cross trainer or a bike. Swimming, as you said, is good, but I find that swimming, people find it a lot harder than what it needs to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, swimming's tough, man.
Yeah, so it's like you're either working too hard, or if you're just doing breaststroke, you're probably not working hard enough. Plus,
yeah,
it's
boring. I think I disagree. I like swimming as a thing, but I think it's just important that you keep within that right kind of work area.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's quite difficult to do that. But some people
what about
can,
something like water polo?
Yeah, this is what I was actually going to go into, is if boredom is a thing, like playing some other sports is kind of good. You just got to try as best you can. Like, if you can wear a heart monitor and see how you're doing, but try and keep it as aerobic as possible. So going in and playing, like I used to play some football in the off season.
Yeah.
Or soccer.
Soccer.
Yeah, I used to go and play in some of that, and I wouldn't, you get in a bit of sprinting, but then you're changing your directions and doing all of that, and it's quite good. As you get more towards pre-season, I'd start to do a lot more running, because just to get your legs used to the feeling of running, because you're going to have to perform a lot in pre-season, especially to keep your coaches happy. And if you go into that first session having not done any running, you're going to be fucked.
I like basketball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm terrible at it, but I think basketball's good because it's got much more in terms of change of direction than most sports, because that court's smaller and it's a bit of a faster game.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a plyometric exposure to it.
Yeah, and you're constantly moving a lot more. Like football, you can just hang around up front and just hide.
Yeah, just goal pick or whatever it's called.
Or if you're playing just touch rugby, people just hang out on the wing and stuff as well.
Hey, that's a legit thing to do. I played link and I played touch. I didn't do that. Yeah, but so touch rugby is a good one to go into. Have we got time to go and talk about touch? So touch is pretty good, apart from it's incredibly fatiguing.
Yeah.
Like touch is a hard game to play. If you look at touch players at the international level, generally speaking, they're quite slight. Apart from the Irish team, who are all jacked.
It's like what you're talking about, like this is where you get touched, you roll the ball, and then you leg it backwards so that you all end up being like the fly half, even though you've just got tackled.
Kind of, yeah. So in touch, you have to retreat that 5 meters. It's actually nearer 7 meters. They ref it so it's a bit more, just to keep on side.
Yeah.
But you have to retreat 5 meters every touch you make, which is hard, right? That's interval training.
Yeah.
And then, generally speaking, you do about... So, okay, here's how touch works at top level. You do 2 phases of attacking play, then you rotate off the field. Yeah, so you only do maybe a minute and a half's work each time.
But the idea is that it's balls out and then recover.
Yeah.
So what this ends up being is more like an actual game of rugby without obviously the contact. But it's more, in terms of energy systems, it's more like an actual game of rugby.
Yeah, absolutely, because
which is
your
what we want or
average
not
heart
what we
rate
want.
is fairly low. So it makes sense because you do that burst and then you rest, and you burst and then you rest.
Yeah.
So it's more like our tempo work.
So quickly here, is this what we want during our off-season, or is it not what we want?
In terms of leading up to the season, almost like a pre-season, I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's where it's at in terms of building that cardiac output.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's also a nice way to get your skills kind of sharpened up.
Definitely. And then, which leads us on, as the timer's going to go up in 10 seconds, which leads us quickly on to what a lot of other people do in their off-season, and that's just play a bunch of sevens.
Fuck that. Yeah, no, sevens is good, but I know you're a big proponent of sevens, aren't you?
I just enjoy the game of sevens, and it has its time. But also, if you're at the end of a grueling season, I don't think it's a good idea to go straight away and play some sevens. A lot of people literally do 15s, then they do sevens, and then they do pre-season, and they do 15s.
Then they play rugby league for a little bit.
Yeah, do you know, like, it is a good way of, it's not even, I wouldn't say it's a great way of building fitness at all. It's a good way of expressing fitness.
Yeah, that's enough for saying it. I like that.
Like, so you're not, like, if you're fit, you're going to be good. But just playing 3 games of not even 14 minutes, because you're probably going to come off, right? That's not really going to build any fitness at all. It's going to expose your weakness of fitness if you're not very fit, or it's going to show how fit you are because you're doing quite well. But you're not really going to build any fitness in playing any sevens.
Not unless you're really out of shape.
Yeah. But what you can do, it is good to work on your skill. Like, it puts a lot more pressure on your basic skills, which is why people love it. If there isn't a specific sevens season, like you actually train for it, like a lot of the clubs do out here in the US, there is a benefit to it, but you still would need some sort of off-season after or before that sevens.
Yeah, I mean, our kid is he's playing sevens, but his seventh season follows straight after the 15s, like that, and then he wrestles for the off-season. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a heavy workload.
Yeah, there needs to be some sort of break in there at some point.
Yeah, there's just not at the high school level anyway. That's absolutely bonkers.
But cool. That hopefully has helped you in terms of what you should be doing in your off-season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Have you got anything else to add in before we wrap up this podcast?
Yeah, if you want a robot work, or at least some ideas for robot work, go to rugby-muscle.com, sign up for our email, and get the, was it 50? Is it 50?
Yeah, 50 plus.
50 plus excellent, different aerobic sessions.
It's not aerobic, it's conditioning, but still.
I did aerobic ones.
Yeah, I know. I did some anaerobic. Well, I did. You'll see. Download it at rugby-muscle.com. You'll also get an email every single time we put a podcast out, and you'll also be notified when we're doing a Q&A so that you can get your question answered. Cool. Go ahead and follow Alex at Collision and Combat on Instagram and Facebook, kind of, if he's there ever. And then follow me, tj.strength, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube. Sweet.
It's everywhere. It's such a social media hall.
Wait. See you later, boys. This one we're going to leave to the chorus.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you